Alright everyone, the other day Ghislaine Maxwell, which was Epstein's long-term associate, finally got caught by the FBI, so by an arm of the deep state. How long before this individual totally doesn't kill herself? Unfortunately, I have the feeling there's going to be a transparently obvious hit job here, and/or Ghislaine Maxwell is a plant of some sort. Like, some people are saying, aha, the wheels on the deep state are coming off. Trump will have his vengeance before November. It's a trust the plan, trust Q, and stuff like that. I don't think that that's unfortunately going to happen. I think more likely you're going to see a repetition of some of the names you've already heard. And that's assuming, and that's a long shot, by the way, that the public hears anything. Generally speaking, what's likely to be the case is if Ghislaine Maxwell survives to give testimony at all, it'll be so opaque and so covered up because of the nature of dealing with powerful, rich, politically connected people in crime. It'll be covered up and you'll never hear anything about it unless someone has committed such egregious crimes that there's no possible way for them to feasibly cover it without vomiting all over themselves. And you're not likely to see that. What you're likely to see is a wealthy clientele of people who in some cases were boffing teenagers without Epstein probably telling them the age as part of a honeypot in order to extort money. If that's the case, you're not going to really see any wider repercussions for the perverts that actually went there knowing full well what they were doing, like Bill Clinton and other people. Hillary's involvement with this sort of crime syndicate is well known. There's a reason why the UN and the Clinton Foundation have gotten caught up in child sex trafficking over and over again and never faced repercussions. It's just sort of a thing that happens, and you got to understand the lifestyles of the rich and vapid includes all sorts of weird shit that the average person doesn't really get up to. Like, the average person doesn't have coke orgies at a fake volcano under what's his name, the former president of Italy's private bunker. Like, I guess he had like a literal cave under one of his palaces, and there was a fake volcano spa in there, and 13-year-old dancers and weird shit like that. This seems to happen with astonishing regularity, and almost never, you may have noticed, and this has been a theme for quite some time, almost never are there any charges brought against any of these people. When you are politically connected, I hate to say that there's a system, an injustice system in most of the world. East, West, doesn't matter the nation, but there is. Again, I keep going back to this metaphor. The law is like a spider's web. The hornets go free, the flies get caught. If you were to do the sort of things that Epstein did, you wouldn't have to hang yourself because you probably would have gotten killed to begin with. Someone like Epstein, who, as of the day he was dead, was worth $500 million fucking dollars just on paper, not to mention all of the other assets that probably got tied up into his wealth and might have been worth twice that at some point, who catered to a crowd of billionaires and high-level politicians. That sort of person, if they get caught at all, typically the other people, the other hornets, just sting them to death before the spider can get there, essentially. That's probably what you're going to see. Ghislaine Maxwell should be watched like a hawk. There should be an independent group involved setting up the camera system, that's for sure, because I can't imagine that those will manage to stay online otherwise. Look at the Epstein case. It was a transparent act of obvious assassination, what happened with Epstein. He did not kill himself. Too many coincidences in one very short span of time had to line up for that to happen. Oh, we had trainee guards watching him who were on triple shift and passed out half the time, with several cameras that stopped working, while his suicide watch was mysteriously ended the day before, with his cellmate saying there was weird shit going on. No, there's nothing to investigate here. And then they investigate and they say, oh yeah, by the way, he hanged himself. Then you have one individual who was present at the autopsy saying, no, we don't think so, we think he got his neck broken, essentially. And that is completely ignored, completely whitewashed by the legacy media. If something were to happen here, it would be even more transparent, but I think one thing happens behind the scenes. It's sort of mafioso. If you can kill somebody and make it obvious that they were killed, especially if it's part of an amorphous deep state cabal with thousands of people who potentially had a reason to hire the hit. If you can do that, excuse me, kitty, if you can do that, and you can make it transparently obvious that you killed somebody, and face no legal repercussions because you've got enough insiders and enough leverage so that you can arrange things at high expense to do so, you can sort of enforce your power and then potentially get away with future crimes just through the shock value. There's almost an impetus for them to kill Ghislaine Maxwell. Not just to cover up, the list of names. Of course, Maxwell was Epstein's associate. It is not entirely and immediately clear that Maxwell herself would be culpable in most of the goings-ons there. It could be that she's not afraid of anything. You cop a plea deal, which will basically get her probation or something like that, even if she was directly fucking involved, which is very possible, although it would be definitely hidden behind a wall of opacity or two. Cuts a plea deal, gives up a couple of the smaller names that were involved. Oh yeah, this was the chauffeur, and this dude drugged several people and brought him in one time, and I found out about it later, of course, it was plausible deniability. And then here's this one B-movie actor who was there, and he was with a 14-year-old. You'll probably get that if you get anything. And again, it's a long shot that the public will get anything, even if she speaks. Assuming that there's no hit job, assuming that she's forthcoming, even if she gives up what she knows, you're not probably going to hear any of it. You're not going to see a list of names. Oh, yeah, by the way, Bill Clinton is a pervert, and Kevin Spacey does weird shit in bed, and I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we already would have gotten that. Look, you've got enough evidence. You've got flight logs. You've got other registries. You've got apparently an enormous trove of electronic material that I guarantee included footage of rich and famous people doing illegal things, and probably not just sexual stuff, but drugs, other things. Maybe they participate in hostile-style murder parties there, for all we know, at St. James. How the fuck are we supposed to know? Everything has been completely shut off from the outside world's scrutiny, because this is the way the deep state chooses to operate. Again, with the FBI involved, it's like, the fox is guarding the henhouse on that one. Unfortunately, I'm not particularly optimistic we're going to get any closure on this, at least anytime soon. It'll be like JFK or something like that, or the Martin Luther King civil case, where 30, 40 years later you find out, oh, by the way, things were fucked up. The Gulf of Tonkin incident being a false flag. Well, that's a conspiracy theory, they said, for 40 years. Oh yeah, by the way, well, no, it's not really conspiracy. It was deliberate. We were trying to get into a war. Whoops. Sorry that we lied to everyone for 4 decades. But it's okay, because the people that were alive then, they're all like old now. That's what they do. To prevent social alienation, they'll wait. They'll kill a person and they'll wait 35, 40 years to admit that they assassinated them. I expect to get a report at some point, when I'm 50 or 60 years old on Michael Hastings or something. That's about all. Peace out.